Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today I'm checking out a 2024 Subaru Crosstrek in the limited trim level. This vehicle is sitting on 225/55 Falcon tires wrapped around 18-inch alloy wheels with a gloss gray finish. It also has four-wheel disc brakes with ventilated rotors on all four wheels. The name of this color is Crystal White Pearl, and it's pretty decent white color. You really have to get the sun to shine directly on it to see that it is a pearl coat, but just looks like a regular white typically. So here in the front, it has mostly matte black grille. So you can see the grille right here is a matte black, and then this portion is kind of like a dark gray. And then you have textured portion down here, kind of looks like from a distance you could look at it similar to a carbon fiber look, but it's not, it's just a textured surface. And you have a little accent here as well with the dark gray feature. LED reflector headlights here at the bottom, and then projector headlights, which are LED, and they also move when you turn the steering wheel, so they're active headlights. There's also LED fog lights and turn signals as well. You can check out my night video on this vehicle. Adaptive cruise control in this vehicle does not use a radar system up here. It uses the EyeSight system, which is a series of cameras up here. And so it has three cameras, one in the center and one on each side. And prior years, they were open. Basically the bottom of the camera where it meets the glass is just open, and reflections you get up there and confuse the camera. So now their Subaru on all their vehicles is enclosing the camera, keeps the camera lens clean, but also keeps any dashboard reflections and stuff like that from interfering with the system. Looking at the profile, you can see that matte black extends here, this textured here around the wheel wells, down the base here, but at the bottom of the doors is that gloss gray, so that's a little bit different. Kind of hard to tell sometimes. Also, you have the body colored handles, the door handles here, but the upper portion of the side mirror is that gloss dark gray as well. This is what the key looks like, and it's a full proximity key system. It has the lock, the unlock, the ability to release the trunk. It's not a power trunk, but you can release it. And then there's a panic button here. There's also a physical key that slides out. You just press this button and slide it out when you need to use it. But generally, when you use this key, just keep it in your pocket, keep it in a bag. As long as it's on the outside of the door here for the front driver or passenger doors. There's a sensor right here indicated by these two little lines. You just put your hand over that, it locks the doors. To unlock it, you simply put your hand behind the handle here. There's a sensor back here. As long as the key's on the outside of the door, it will sense the close proximity of that key and unlock the door and allow you access. There's also a physical key location here on the driver's side only. The inside of the passenger side door, it's once again, we have a combination of black and gray, but we also have the stitching here. That's kind of like an orange color stitching here, and then you have the French stitching, double stitch here at the bottom. This is a soft touch, kind of like a vinyl type material. This is also soft touch, kind of rubbery right here. This is enclosed, this handle, so you can utilize that as a pocket. And then we have some textured plastic, and this time they're actually going for the carbon fiber look here. It extends here and also over to the dash. Looks pretty cool though. But the rest of the door is a hard touch plastic here and here. And you have the pockets there at the bottom. You also have the Harman Kardon sound system with one of the speakers there at the bottom as well. So here's the threshold area. Now the door doesn't go all the way to the bottom of the vehicle. It kind of stops right in this area. And below that could get potentially dirty. So it does keep this area clean when you close the door, so that's nice. Manually adjusted seats here on the passenger side. These are synthetic leather seats. Once again, gray, black with the orange stitching. They are heated with a two-stage high and low heated seat. And they're pretty comfortable. Hadn't had any problems with these seats. All right, there's the floorboard. You can see it's like a Berber carpet floor mat. And decent legroom here in the front. We have a non-locking glove compartment. Smooth plastic on the inside, pretty good size. And we have that carbon fiber look. Textured plastic here, kind of soft touch, and rubbery soft, non-reflective dash here. The opening here in the front, plenty of room to get in and out of the vehicle. The height off the ground is nice to get in and out of the seat. Swing of the door is nice. The swing of the door is really good here in the back as well. And we have a little bit less room to get in and out, but look at the headroom. Got lots of room there and just a little bit less room right here, making room for that wheel well area. So that's nice. It's actually pretty decent here in the back. Do have the privacy glass as well. So the inside of the back door, very similar styling, just a little bit less fancy. We have the hard touch surfaces here. The only soft touch we have is here on the armrest, which is that kind of rubbery soft. And we do have some stitching on it as well. Pocket there, as well as down there as well. Have a little bit of a fancy design there, little mountains. You see that throughout the vehicle. So the back seat is basically a bench seat. It does have the stitching, slight perforations there with the color accents. There's an armrest with cup holders. And it does have the latch system for car seats, and they're behind these little flaps. So you pull these flaps down and you can access the car seat attachments. And the flaps do not completely, you can't lose them basically, they stay in there, which is cool. So there's a mat pocket on the back of the passenger seat here, but not the driver's seat. 2 USB charge ports. So there is a USB-C and a USB-A charge port. And the floor mat, or the floor itself, goes down quite a bit, but there is a significant hump there in the center. You gotta check out my night video because there's some issues as far as the lighting at nighttime. Taking a look at the back of the vehicle, it has the matte black rails right here, but it also has a matte black shark fin antenna. It's kind of wide shark fin antenna. The third brake light is located right here at the top of the glass in that rear spoiler. It does have a rear wiper and a combination of LED and standard bulbs for the tail lights, and I go over that in the night video. The backup camera is located quite a bit offset right here, kind of tacked on looking next to the tag, but that's the way they put it. Now the parking sensors back here, there's also that textured matte black surfaces on the bumper, and these are reflectors. These are not lights here. All the lights are in this housing here. To get into the hatch area, there is a button. You just push that button, you can lift it up. There's hard plastic on the underside here. If all the seats are occupied with passengers, this is the cargo space that you have left. And it has the hard touch here on the sides. There's tie downs. There's a little, you could put a net pocket in here. Little storage cubby on the side here. A single light, which is pretty poor at nighttime. Then you have another little cubby there on the side. Now there is a shade that you can kind of cover up your stuff, keep light from shining on it, or just people from looking in. And that shade is removable. Under this mat and under this floor is a spare tire and tools. So this is basically an off-road capable vehicle, so it wouldn't make any sense to not have a spare tire. So it's a good thing they do have a full diameter spare tire. Now folding these seats down, it is a 60-40 split. So the 60% is there to the right, 40 on the left. And so you can fold down one seat or the other, add to your cargo space while still maintaining passenger space, or you can take the shade out, fold both seats down, and have a wide open space back here. The fuel door is here on the passenger side, and it locks with the vehicle. So if the vehicle's locked, it's locked. Unlock the vehicle, it also unlocks the fuel door. And it has a traditional cap, tether, and a place to hang the cap here on the inside of the door. Starting it up, as long as you have the key inside the vehicle, you just press and hold the brake and press this button to start it. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat. Now you notice the floor mat hooks in place over here. So there's two places. It keeps it from sliding forward and getting twisted on you. There's the accelerator, brake pedal, and a footrest as well. Let's take a look under the hood. To open the hood, there is a latch right here in the very center. So reach in and move it to the left and lift up. And the hood's fairly light. It does require a prop to hold it up, and the prop is right here, and you swing it up to right where that arrow is pointing. Or if you want the hood higher, you can put it to this lower position right here, and look at there, the hood's completely out of your way. Now you do have to lift it up quite a bit higher, and the wind can catch it, but it does help out. You can basically pull the engine out without taking the hood off, which is pretty cool. Okay, so this is the Subaru Boxer engine, and if you're not familiar with that, it basically has 2 cylinders going this way and 2 cylinders going that way. And so it separates the head so they can diffuse heat a little bit better. It's a full aluminum engine as well. Also, the center of gravity is lower, having this configuration. And it has the intake here on the top. So you can see this plastic portion right here. The fresh air comes into the top, and then the exhaust goes straight out the bottom. And it has separate exhaust manifolds. So that's another way of separating and dispersing the heat as well. But the main benefit really, to me, is the lower center of gravity. And the lightweight, considering it's a full aluminum engine. There's the battery, it's insulated. The firewall is insulated. Now this is a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine, and it's paired to a CVT transmission, continuously variable transmission. And it's an all-wheel drive vehicle, and it's pretty capable all-wheel drive vehicle as well. It does have the different drive modes that you can select. And the only thing with the transmission though is that it sometimes tries to simulate gear shifts, which kind of diminishes the whole value of a CVT. But other than that, it seems to work pretty good. The blind spot detection system, the indicator is right here on the inside of the side mirror. So some vehicles have it on the glass. This has it in a separate location here on the inside of the side mirror housing. So right in there, and this kind of separates it from any confusions from, say, reflections from the mirror or anything like that. So it's pretty good. It's just, you kind of forget that it has it because it's kind of not obvious until it illuminates. The inside of the driver's side door is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. So we have the window controls here. Front are one touch up and down. And then the rear glass, you do have to hold it, and it does go all the way down, which is nice. Door lock controls are here, and then the side mirrors are adjusted with that little joystick there. You just pick a side and adjust it. So the seat here on the driver's side is powered, so you can have the height adjusted, up, down, tilt the back, and also a 2-way lumbar adjustment as well. And once again, these are heated seats, 2-stage heated seats. To the left of the steering column, there is only a dimmer switch for the interior gauges. It also dims other lights as well. You can check that out in the night video. And it has a tilt and a telescoping steering column. You lock it in place here. I'm sitting in the driver's seat, and I'm 6 feet tall. I have the driver's seat all the way down and all the way back to give you an idea of the potential legroom here. And it's slightly further back than what I would normally drive. So if you're 6'1", 6'2", shouldn't have any problem. It does have fairly good amount of legroom, more here on the left than the right. This is a hard touch surface, so if you find your leg, pressing up against it or whatever, then it's not super comfortable. But it seems like it's kind of dished out enough to where it's okay. So it has a leather wrap steering wheel, synthetic leather, with the stitching here on the inside, kind of orange color stitching. And it has paddle shifters back here. It also has a lot of buttons. So here on the left side is the volume for the radio, the audio source, change to the tracks. You also have the ability to answer and hang up using the Bluetooth features here. And I like the way it has separate buttons here, so you can answer and then hang up. So that way it's not the same button. So when you're hanging up, you're not just answering another call that just happened to come in, that kind of thing. So that's handy. And then it has this little up and down right here, which corresponds to that little screen between the gauges there. We'll get to that in a second. Here on the right side is a cruise control. You turn it on, you set, change to the speed, and then you can cancel. And then this is once again, separate buttons to set the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you. And I like that because a lot of other vehicles, you press the same button and it kind of cycles through the distance. And it's a little bit awkward, especially if you're kind of close to somebody and you don't want to, all of a sudden start slamming on the brakes or going too fast or whatever to get close to them. So this kind of like you have more control having two separate buttons. And down here is the sport mode and then the intelligent drive mode. So basically they call it SI, and it just has this little graphic when it pulls up here on the screen showing you the SI curve basically. And what it does is it just kind of shows you that it's closer to the power band, or the area in which the engine has more torque, the RPM range anyway. So yeah, just sport and then just regular is what it really boils down to. This is the button to turn on and off the lane keep assist, which is a little bit too aggressive. It kind of fights with you while you're driving, but it does work okay. But you know, it has some issues. So we saw the paddle shifters. There's the windshield wipers for the front and back. Also the turn signal, and you also have the headlight switch. Fog lights are controlled here, and then you have off, automatic, parking, and then headlights. Now there's always some kind of external light on even when you put it on off, but it does have that off position. There is a reset the trip right here button. And then the gauges, pretty standard as far as, you know, traditional dial gauges here: physical, tachometer, RPM gauge, engine coolant temperature. Here on the right is the speedometer and the fuel gauge. Now the right there in the center shows you what gear you're in, the trip, the odometer. It also shows some information there in the center, including a digital speedometer. But using this button to kind of go up and down, we can get a little bit more information just kind of scrolling up and down. You can see it gives us this is what it's saying, that the auto start feature kind of saves our gas. It's very, very tiny, but and I usually turn it off, the start feature. All right, this will show the tire pressure once you start driving, and then this is the compass, obviously, and this is what road you're on, which is not on. Well, I'm not on a public road right now. No device connected. This will be your Bluetooth, and then this goes to your clock, and then the outside temperature, average miles per gallon, distance to empty, and then you can reset this independently. This is since you started the vehicle, basically. So yeah, you kind of scroll through and you can get more information here. It's not like a huge menu or anything, but it does give you additional information. So here's the touch screen. It does have some physical buttons around it. So this is your four-way flashers, volume for the radio, tune through the stations, front and rear defrosters, and then the temperatures. Those are physical buttons there. Everything else is controlled here on the screen. So it's kind of like three sections. You have this top section, this middle section, and then this bottom section. So you can see this top one, you can get different information here just by kind of swiping through. The X mode is the drive mode. So you have dirt, snow, deep snow, mud, normal for the all-wheel drive system. So you can have that separate. It does have the digital clock and the outside temperature here as well. And then the bottom part, you can see it's more static compared to the center part. So the center part moves separately. So you have little tiles, similar to like a cell phone, kind of quick shortcuts. Then you can go to your map. And you can make it a little bit bigger, just like that, but all it does is just show the sky when you're driving, so it's not a huge help, but it is a nice orientation having the screen this way, so you can see down the road a little bit further. You have different views. Let's kind of zoom out because there's not much to see right there. All right, so now, so we can see what's going on. Zoom out once again. Zoom out once again. But this three-dimensional view right here seems to be, you get the best view as far as down the road, and so you can see what's ahead and everything. Now you can do a search and search for different things. It has a full keyboard and everything. That's the nice thing about having a big screen like this. You can add a lot to it. Okay, so let's go to the home screen. So this is the home screen here. Look at the radio, see what it looks like. Alright, there's your presets there, and then you have AM, FM, satellite radio. Now this will be separate from the media, so the media will be here. This will be your cell phone, Bluetooth, USB, stuff like that. Auxiliary input as well. It does have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. It's another way of interacting with the screen. So your phone, and then you have different apps here. There's the Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You also have Travel Link and then My Subaru, which is an app for your cell phone. Alright, we can look at the settings here. Quite a bit of settings. And there's general, sound settings, navigation settings. So it's kind of categorized. Phone settings, radio, car, that kind of thing. Alright, let's go back here. Now your phone settings, there's a shortcut here for it as well. Alright, so there's also basically shortcuts down here as well. It's vehicle control, the X-MODE, vehicle dynamics control, which is the traction control. Unless you want to spin tires, you want to leave that on. Default is on, so you can turn it off there. You can also go into driving assistance, and then you have additional settings here. And just below that is the climate control. So it just kind of gives you some information here, but as soon as you hit that, it pops it up, expands it up, and then you have the temperature, and then you have where you want the air to blow, the fan speed, and and you can also sync them as well right there. Sync the driver and passenger temperatures. So down here is where you'll find the auxiliary input, USB-C and USB-A charge and inputs. And then a wireless charge pad down here. Pretty good size. It's kind of rubbery as well. Here's the shifter. When we put it in reverse, since we have a nice big screen, we have a view behind you. But you notice it's not like taking advantage of the full screen. It's kind of still that widescreen view, but it is still good. And it does have the rear cross traffic alert and parking sensors as well, and what you can quickly access right there. Neutral, drive. Now if you want to use the paddle shifters, you just put it over here into manual mode, and you can have more control over the gear shifts. Heated seat has 2 stage, high and low, for the passenger and driver seats. This is just a blank button for now, and then this is electronic parking brake. Lift it up, it does have the on light. It engages the rear wheels, and then to disengage it, hold the brake and push it down to disengage it. So here's the cup holders, and pretty basic. They do have these little booster seats, I guess, that you can put in there for short cups or whatever, and then you can stack them if you need to. 12-volt power supply here. Here's the armrest, and it's fairly soft, nice and cushy soft. I don't feel any bottoming out. It has the stitching here as well. I don't know if this is big enough to share with the passenger, but it's nice and soft and comfortable. And this lifts up, and when you lift it up, it does snap down in place very solidly. And when you lift it up, when you release it, you can stop anywhere and it stays right put. It doesn't slap back down or anything. So it kind of stays wherever you let go of it, which is nice. That's as far back as it goes here. And then here's the storage compartment. Now there's no connectivity or anything in there, but it does have the ability to put wires in and out of the compartment for some reason. I guess if you put a device inside and you want to run the wire to this 12-volt power supply, I guess that would be handy. There's a little storage compartment there as well. The rearview mirror has a manual day and night mode. And you have some tap lights up here. Now if you want the lights to turn on with the door, you can have that on or off over here. Roadside assistance buttons here as well. These are for the sunroof. We'll get to that in a minute. The visor has like a vinyl covering over it, and it does match the headliner, which is a cloth material. It has a mirror with a light. A little extension here pops out, and a little place to put some papers or whatever there as well. Good for registrations, that kind of thing. Okay, so let's look at the sunroof. The sunroof has a shade that blocks 100% of the light. And so that's nice. Because some vehicles have like a translucent shade, and there's always some kind of light shining on you. And sometimes on a hot day, you just want to block all the light. So I'm glad to see that. So this one is the tilt, this first one here. And the second one is the slide. So the tilt one, tilt up, tilt down, so separate button. And then the slide, like so. Push it, it goes a little bit further back. Okay, so let's look at the visibility here in the back. This actually is pretty decent as far as the visibility. The pillars are not overly wide. It does have a little window to help out as well. Now the top kind of tapers down quite a bit, but you know, overall haven't had an issue any more than any other vehicle. Actually, it's pretty better than a lot of vehicles as far as visibility overall, especially considering it has the blind spot, rear cross traffic alert, parking sensors, and the camera system and all that stuff as well. So helps you out. So here we are on the highway going 75 miles per hour. RPMs are just below 2,000, so about 1,900 RPMs. And this is a fairly smooth road. There's a little tiny bit of wind noise, a little tiny bit of road noise, but overall really good. Now the lane keep assist system kind of fights a little bit with you. And what's interesting is when as you're driving, you tend to not want to fight with it, so you kind of ease off on trying to control the steering wheel and just kind of let it stay within the lanes. But then when you do that, then it tells you put your hands on the steering wheel, even though your hand is on the steering wheel. So it's a little frustrating sometimes, the lane keep assist system. But it does a pretty good job of keeping you in the lane. It just kind of fights with you a little bit. And it's able to follow one line. So right now it's showing, you can see these lines, and these lines are not very clear at all, but it's able to see them. But if it's just one line, it can just follow one line as well. And it will alert you if it's not able to see the lines and the system turns off. If you ever see the movie Maximum Overdrive from the 80s, this old Stephen King movie, this is the bridge, the drawbridge that was in the movie here in Wilmington, North Carolina. It's pretty interesting because it looks about the same as it did back then.